Good afternoon and welcome to our daily COVID-19 update. This is number 25. It's for the town of Plymouth. We're coming to you live on Wednesday, April 15th. I'm Steve Triffletti, your Plymouth Town Moderator. We'll be here each day, Monday through Friday at noon for this update. This forum is being brought to you live by PAC TV on Comcast channels 13 and 15 and Verizon channels 43 and 47. You can also watch this on PAC TV's streaming channel by going to pactv.org/live. Today, your questions can be emailed to plymouthinfo@pactv.org, and these forums can be replayed at pactv.org/Plymouth. Today's participants include Ken Tavares, Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen, Mathew Muratore, he is the Plymouth State Representative, Michael Jackman, he is a staff member from Congressman William Keating's office, Heather Cozby, a Plymouth CPA, Patricia Fry, she is the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources for the Plymouth Public Schools, and Amy Naples, the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Each day we date stamp our presentation so you'll know that it is live. We welcome your questions. We're attempting to give you verified information from officials and experts. And we're going to begin, as we do each day, with an opening statement from the Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen, Kenneth Tavares. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, the Board of Selectmen met and took 3 votes that are important to the town. The first is we voted to change the town election from Saturday, May 16th to Saturday, June 20th. And as far as we know, the state is still holding the election for the vacancy left by Senator DiMacedo for his seat, and that is scheduled for May 19th. To the action that we took in regards to payments due the town, there were 2 votes. The first was to extend the due date for applications for exemptions from April 1st to June 1st, 2020. There's a great deal of detail on our website if you go to plymouth.gov, where you can see exactly what you have to do to get one of these exemptions. And we know that a number of them were already in process before the virus hit, but you have an extension now from April 1st to June 1st. The other section that we worked on under the bill passed by the House and Senate was Section 11, and this was to adopt the local option to waive interest and other penalties for late payment of any excise tax, betterment, or apportionment thereof, water rate, or annual sewer rate. This section allows the waiver of interest and penalties regarding late payments of bills with a due date of March 10th, 2020, or after that date, when such bills are paid late but paid on or before June 29th, 2020. So it's very important to remember the payment date now would be June 29th on or before. The bills that would be impacted by this would be the 2020 and 2019 motor vehicle excise bills that were due on March 30th, the 2020 real estate and personal property taxes for the quarter ending May 1st, 2020 and 2019 boat excise bills, and 2020 water and sewer bills, which will be coming out, and they would be due on May 18th, and that has been extended to the 29th also. This section, and it's important to remember this, does not permit waiver of interest or penalties regarding bills with due dates before March 10th, 2020, or if the bill is not paid by June 29th, 2020. This waiver of interest does not apply to bills with due dates between March 10th, 2020, or if the bill is not paid by June 29th. I know that's a lot of detail, but again, if you go to the website, plymouth.gov, explain to you, and you'll be able to follow it very easily. There are also telephone numbers on the site that if you have questions in regards to any of this, that the numbers that will go directly into Town Hall. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. That's Kenneth Tavares. He is the chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen, providing his daily update. At this time, We're delighted to welcome Patricia Fry. She is the Assistant Superintendent, Plymouth Public Schools for Human Resources. Welcome, Patty.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Just a brief update from the schools. I know everyone has heard from Dr. Maestas and Dr. Campbell last week. In my role in Plymouth is really dealing with the staff through human resources. And I really can't say enough about our faculty and staff. They've been incredible. And we have a real soft spot for our families and everything they're going through. So first to start off, I wanted to thank our students, their families, and especially our entire Plymouth school community with the staff, because it's a new learning curve for all of us in education. We're definitely a business that's people first. So it's new territory, but people are doing a great job. It's hard to believe we're really entering, I think, our 5th week of the closure. And I think, as you heard from Dr. Campbell last week, there's really been 2 phases. The initial phase was the first 3 weeks. And in all of our discussions, we've led through working with the Commissioner of Education. And the first phase was truly enrichment and reinforcement of material for our students, hoping we would return. Unfortunately, we were extended out to May 4th, and we kicked off the second phase last week through a great deal of work in collaboration with our teachers, our administrators, our coordinators, our principals. Everyone throughout the entire organization worked very hard to get our website up and running. And the way that works is each week our teachers upload a template of information and activities and assignments. And in the word of students, it counts now. So the kids are really buying in. We also have a number of administrators, from our assistant principals to our guidance counselors, really reaching out to any families we feel aren't connected, because my biggest words in my lens is accessibility and communication is what we really are hoping for with our families, because there are so many dynamics. You need to have wireless, you need to have a device. We've been fortunate that we've given out over 600 Chromebooks to families, and our principals have worked diligently with our technology staff to make themselves accessible, and they're meeting people all over town to make that happen with social distancing. One thing you take for granted in a school, unfortunately, is our food program. And I'd like to thank our food staff as well, because we've been providing meals to families, and it's just been seamless working in collaboration with South Shore Community Action. I'd also like to thank 2 of our unions, COBRA and the Educational Association of Plymouth and Carver, have made very generous donations to our food processing. So we've been very lucky, and that's ongoing. That's something that if anyone has a need, there's a form through our website, or they can reach out to any administrator in the district. It's very confidential, but we really just want to make sure we can help as much as possible. As I go back to the 2 words, accessibility and communication, we always want parents to know that their child's teachers are available by email at all times. It's something that we're really focusing on the school day hours so we don't overwhelm our kids. I know as a parent, I joked earlier that it's complex working full-time and helping your child with their education. So our teachers understand that, know that less is more sometimes. We just want to do as much as we can to support, and we're learning together in that. I think last week, the school committee voted, I forget what night, I'm kind of confused on what day it is lately. I joke I have morning meeting like in an elementary classroom each day to remind myself it's Wednesday today with my own family. I think it's something that the school committee did vote to continue work through April vacation. Initially, we were not going to do that, but we got a lot of feedback from our families that they'd started on the path of phase 2. They had the momentum, and so we listened to them, and the teachers agreed. So the last day of school for Plymouth was originally June 25th. Now it is June 19th. So that was a new development last week that Dr. Campbell notified families, and I notified staff after that vote last week. I think another piece separate from this, I did want to let the community know that, as you all know, sadly, our superintendent is still going to retire next year. I'm trying to break him and get him to stay, but he doesn't answer my phone calls when I try. But we had initial interviews scheduled the week of March 23rd with our team and committee, which represents parents, community members, teachers. And the school committee voted the other night that we are going to do that through Zoom the week of April 27th. So we are going to be interviewing 6 candidates. 1 did withdraw their name. And so that will be going on that week. And then when finalists emerge, I'll work with the school committee to, that will be a more public session so that members of the community will be invited in some method to that. Originally, we were obviously going to have open meetings and then videotape them and share later. I don't know yet what direction we'll be going because we're going to be going on obviously direction from the governor and things like that. So that's really a state of the state with the schools right now. But I, again, cannot thank enough everyone in the community who has stepped up. We're seeing so much good in these complex times. And I know parents are struggling and our teachers are struggling because it's the new normal, but it's not what we're the most skilled at because I think you can't replace the face-to-face. I think we all know that I would never want to be just an online learner or an online teacher. That, you know, and our seniors are close to our heart right now. So we don't know what direction we'll be going. We're going to wait to hear from the governor, but things like senior decisions, graduation, sports, those are all very real. Our kids in 5th grade going to 6th grade, K to 12, there's ceremonies and May is a great month. So it's something that I know I speak for the superintendent that we care immensely about our kids and we want to come up with the best solution. So we're going to try. So we don't have answers yet. Once we know the next stage, we'll be reconvening our leadership team, which has been tremendous. And I think another shout out to our leadership team, they're working more than ever, which is hard to believe. But I think the hours that everyone's putting in on the school side has been tremendous. And our custodians are even doing building shift rotations and things happen. When you have a storm, you lose Wi-Fi and power and they're working around the clock as needed. So a big thank you to everyone.
Thank you. That is Patricia Fry. She is the Assistant Superintendent, Plymouth Public Schools for Human Resources, and she and our other participants will be available to answer your questions. You can send them to us by email to plymouthinfo@pactv.org. We've already received several questions, which we'll be answering after we hear from all of our participants. Next, we welcome Michael Jackman, and he is a staff member with the office of Congressman William Keating. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you again for giving us the opportunity, and thank you to PAC TV for the opportunity to share information with the constituents who are watching today. A few things I do want to report on from the federal government. First and foremost, the stimulus rebate benefit that people should be receiving already. The Treasury Department reports that over 80 million taxpayers and 80 million residents in the country have received payments already by direct deposit. Folks who have filed their taxes and received the refund by direct deposit, filed either a 2019 or a 2018 tax return already, will be among the first to receive that rebate benefit by direct deposit. Folks who receive Social Security or railroad retirement benefits, as long as they have their direct deposit information on file with Social Security, they should also be among the first group to receive those benefits directly by direct deposit. Folks who get a check, there's a few options. One of the options is waiting. The other option is you can go online and there's a portal that the IRS has implemented called Get My Payment. If you go on the IRS website or if you Google IRS Get My Payment, you should be able to find the portal. If not, you can contact our office and we can send you the link so you can check it out. If you can track your payment on that portal, or you can enter your direct deposit information if you wish to receive your benefit sooner rather than later, which I think a lot of people would rather do. To do that, you will need a copy of your most recent tax return, whether it's 2019 or 18, because that will have your adjusted gross income. It will have your tax amount or refund amount from that year, that tax year. And that's what the IRS will use to identify you as that taxpayer so they can verify your information and let you know what the status is of your payment or to get your direct deposit information. Important thing to note, so I guess just if folks have trouble with that portal, they can certainly call our office in Plymouth. The number there is 508-746-9000, or they can contact us by our website, keating.house Very important to note that there will be scams. We talk about scams pretty much every time I've been on, and I know a lot of your guests talk about preventing scams. The IRS will not call you or text you. They're not going to send you a tweet or a Facebook post asking for your account information or for your social security number. They're using the information they already have, and that portal is the safest, most secure way to give them additional information to expedite your return, your rebate. So any questions about that, please do reach out to us. I will note that the IRS is saying now that they will be sending a letter out to folks approximately 2 weeks after they receive their benefit or the benefit is sent, just so folks can confirm that they received it, and will instruct folks on how to report if they did not receive their benefit. So that'll be the only communication folks should expect to get. Again, if you get a text or an email or a phone call from the IRS, or you see like something on Twitter, on Facebook, or Instagram, that's most likely a scam. In fact, 100% it's a scam. So do be on the lookout for that. The only thing I would just want to mention, I know Heather will probably talk about the SBA, but we have heard from the SBA that over 27,000 of the payroll protection program loans have been approved for Massachusetts. And that's represents over $7 billion worth of funds as of Monday the 13th. So initially there was some wrinkles with that rollout, so we're glad to see that some funds are still going out. If people have questions about their applications or the economic injury disaster loans, they can contact our office about that as well. And lastly, we are getting a lot of calls about unemployment. The CARES Act that Congress passed at the end of March did make some enhancements to unemployment for the pandemic. The three main provisions are a $600 stipend that's added on to every benefit of unemployment recipient's benefit. A provision they call pandemic unemployment assistance, which will allow self-employed independent contractors, gig economy workers to file for unemployment, and a 13-week extension for folks whose unemployment has lapsed. So the last two provisions, the gig workers, self-employed workers, and the 13-week extension, have not yet been implemented. We're in constant contact with the unemployment office, as I know Representative Muratore and his staff are, to get information about this. We're told that it will be the gig workers, self-employed workers will be able to apply by April 30th, if not sooner. The unemployment office, the Department of Labor, has chosen a vendor to stand up that portal, that application. It's going to be a whole different application than the traditional unemployment application, which is why it's been somewhat time consuming. Good thing to note is that even if you aren't able to file until April 30th, those applications will be retroactive back to the beginning of February or to when you were first unemployed, as long as it's after that date. So folks can expect some relief on that front once that application is up and running. Again, any questions about that, folks should feel free to reach out to us in Plymouth. We're at home, but we're answering our calls and getting back to folks as best we can. And the number again is 508-746-9000. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Michael Jackman. He is a staff member at the office of Congressman William Keating. And as you can see, we have local, state, and federal officials working together to provide you information regarding Plymouth's response to COVID-19. And next, each Wednesday, we now welcome back Heather Cozby. She is a CPA from the town of Plymouth. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, PAC TV. And thank you, Mr. Jackman, because you just took care of a lot of what I was going to say. So I appreciate that. On the personal payments, there is the website, which is updated. You can check your status, like you said, like Mr. Jackman said. There's clarification there between what is a non-filer and Social Security. So if you receive Social Security and are a non-filer, you should be all set. You shouldn't have to do anything else. If you were a non-filer because you didn't have taxable income, you need to actually go to the IRS website to update your information with them so they know where to send a payment. And like Mr. Jackman said, you may check on the status of your refund right there on the website. So irs.gov/coronavirus, and you'll get all new information updated there. So on the personal side, there's really not much more. The best place for the unemployment information continues to be the Massachusetts unemployment website, which has a lot of information about the dates that were just talked about. If you are already receiving your unemployment benefit, your federal benefit will just get automatically sent to you. And then shortly, the website actually says this month for the gig workers or people that wouldn't normally qualify, that part of the website is being built still. So that's really it on the personal side. On the SBA loan side, there has been updates issued since last week's conference here. And the first one has to do with the economic injury disaster loan. And this is the $10,000, what they're now calling a grant. And you as a business could apply for this directly on the SBA website. And the way they're going to implement it is there's a $10,000 max of what's going to be a grant. It's going to be based on the number of employees you had before the disaster happened. So the number of employees you had as of January 31st. So it's $1,000 per employee. So if you had 5 employees on that date, then you should be receiving $5,000 of the $10,000. So there's information on SBA.gov about this. I applied for this and I received an email from SBA outlining this to me, telling me that somebody would be contacting me. So if you feel that you still haven't been contacted by any of the SBA or regarding any of these benefits, just know that that's still the case for a lot of people. The economic injury disaster loan also has a real loan, a separate loan that's not forgivable that is online as well that you can look at. And then the last piece of that is we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about some of the debt forgiveness. We've talked about the Payroll Protection Program debt forgiveness, which is a powerful and amazing tool that every business should be trying to take advantage of. But if you already had an existing SBA loan, that is something that I wanted to make sure small businesses were looking into. And this would be a 7A, a 504, or a micro loan. Your loan payments will be automatically paid by SBA for 6 months. And you should have seen that coming through in your loan statements or something happening like that. So you'll also, if you get a new SBA loan, the first 6 months will also be automatically paid for through this program as well. So that's part of the debt relief that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about that I wanted to highlight because a lot of our businesses in town already have SBA loans. Thank you. And then really, in general, it's just continue to go to your bank about your payroll protection loans. I know, again, I was, I guess, first in line. I still haven't heard about mine. I would say that's common, but everything's starting to flow and information and money is starting to flow to everybody. I just also want to say thank you to all of the medical and support staff that keep this town running amidst this crisis. It's really amazing. And I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Heather Cozby, and she's the CPA from the town of Plymouth. And next, as we do each day, we welcome a representative from our business community. Today, we have once again Amy Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everybody. We all understand times are very challenging, but I do think positivity goes a long way right now. So today I wanted to share 3 reasons for businesses to be optimistic. First, the spotlight is on small businesses. Consumers are now realizing just how much they miss their local retailers, favorite restaurants, and the hustle and bustle of busy downtowns. One thing's very clear, buying local has definitely been elevated. With the world of closures, customers are aware of just how much they miss those businesses. Second, the crisis has unlocked creativity. Businesses are adapting and being creative to engage customers. This entrepreneurial spirit will give businesses the power to continue and the means to do so. So as I always say, businesses need to overcome and adapt. This is your time to be creative in your business. And lastly, social media wins. With just a few months ago, we were talking about Facebook's privacy or a lack thereof. Facebook has certainly become the lifeline for many. Clearly, it's not just about what you had for lunch. The power is so much greater. reports have shown that Facebook apps have more than doubled. Messaging on Instagram has soared, and people are spending hours upon hours a day on their social media platforms. So the takeaway from today, use your social media pages, utilize the stories, and provide your consumers with constant updates. It is by far the best marketing tool during this time. With that being said, the Chamber is hosting a webinar on Friday morning at 10 a.m. It is on the power of social media during COVID-19, hosted by Matt Mulligan of Hawk Visuals. He'll share ideas of how you can engage your customers and promote your services. Some additional ideas I wanted to share with you all today and to stay active and engaged through the Chamber include post and tag the Plymouth Area Chamber on your Instagram stories so we can share it to ours. Join the PACC What's Happening Facebook page for you to share and promote your services. You can create a small PDF image, share on that, and we will approve that post. Share your happenings with us so we can share it out to our newsletter that goes out weekly. It's a great opportunity for everyone to read, and it goes out to over 5,000 contacts. In addition, we developed a Facebook page based on the mission to come together and support each other. So you could visit PACC Small Businesses Coming Together, that Facebook page, and join. And lastly, we are looking for a 60-second or less video from members saying hello, tell us what your services are, that you are open, what you're providing. We are showcasing videos every Friday on our Facebook page. And I think Patty said it best. There's certainly nothing better than face-to-face contact, but I think participating in Zoom meetings, creating video content really helps fill that void during this time. So that's our business advice for today.
Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. She and the other participants will be available for your questions. Email us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. We now welcome Plymouth Representative Mathew Muratore. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to our guest, and a real shout out to Amy for what you're doing with the small businesses in our community, and Mike. We couldn't have a better federal partner to work with, so we appreciate everything you're doing to support us and help us in the state. And the schools are second to none, Patty. You guys have done a great job with keeping all our kids busy during the day with the school work. We really appreciate that, but we're making the best out of everything. So we appreciate everything you're all doing. And Heather, I love your weekly updates. Changing drastically every week. Very helpful to all of us, also a small business owner as well. So appreciate that. Right before we got on air, the governor just finished a press conference. So I just want to give some highlights from that before I give you the numbers. So he did talk about that we are officially in the surge at this point. So, but the capacity that we have of open hospital beds, we're about 50% throughout the Commonwealth at this point. This includes the field sites as well. So we are well positioned. Also talked about that there's going to, starting today, there'll be a breakdown of COVID-19 cases by city and town that will be posted every Wednesday starting today. So you'll be able to see it by every city or town, unless you have less than 5 in your city or town. But that was another highlight of today. There was a lot of discussion today about the nursing home industry. There are 383 nursing facilities, 255 assisted livings, and 93 rest homes. And the priority now is, as we've been talking, is to get test kits to all these facilities throughout the Commonwealth, so they can start testing their residents and their staff as quickly as possible. As of yesterday, there have been 77 facilities that have taken advantage of that. But we'll be sure to see more this rise as this word gets out to all these facilities. In addition, there are going to be additional COVID-19 facilities opening up in our area. New Bedford, Dartmouth, and Brewster and Falmouth will be opening up over the next 7 to 10 days. These long-term care facilities with COVID-19 patients to actually ease the burden on the current facilities that don't have any, or facilities that do have people that don't have any but want to move some folks out. So that will be happening. about additional $130 million that's going to be given to rest homes and nursing facilities that has been starting to come out to these facilities to help pay for the staff, increase staff wages for these folks that are working and working in the toughest of conditions. So we appreciate that happening as well. With regard to some of the long-term care numbers, there have been to date 4,500 tests at 264 sites. To date, 3,907 cases of COVID-19 with at least one case in 214 of these facilities. And the number of deaths in these facilities has risen to 444, which is 46% of all the deaths in the Commonwealth have come out of these long-term care facilities. The number of people in these long-term care facilities, in nursing facilities, there are about 38,000. In assisted livings, there's 16,500, and in rest homes, there's 3,000. So you can see the numbers and how they relate to the amount of people living in those places. In addition, the governor spoke about there's 1 million pieces of PPE, personal protective equipment, that's on its way from FEMA, from the federal government. That will include over 650,000 masks. So that is as well. With regard to, and also finally, the Joint Base Cape Cod is going to be opening on Monday. There'll be 94 beds. It's going to be run by Cape Cod Hospital. They'll be the partner there, and this will be for COVID-19 patients on the Cape. And so for the numbers, additional numbers for today, with regard to the number of testing as of yesterday at 10 a.m., so that was as of April 14th at 10 a.m., there's been 126,551 folks out of the Commonwealth, which is a population of 7 million people, or 1.8% of the population has been tested. There was an increase of 4,502 testing as of from the day before. Of those 126,000 people who've been tested, 28,163, or 22% of those tested, have been tested positive for the COVID-19. And that's an increase of only 1,296, which, believe it or not, we've been talking, in the 2,000 range for the last several days. So it was only 96 increase as of from the day before to yesterday. And the number of total deaths, we're approaching 1,000 at this point. We're now at 957. We had the most one-day deaths since we started this, 113 deaths, at 3.4% of those deaths occurring for those folks who had tested positive. In addition, in Plymouth County, the number have risen just slightly. It's 2207. The amount of people that have been confirmed positive for the COVID-19 out of 512,000 people, which is a 0.4% percentage. And in Plymouth, the number has not changed from the day before, which was 99 people that have tested positive. I believe that will be updated later on today. And just one couple reminders of how people can actually help. There's still a need for these field hospitals that are out there for volunteers to come out to help. So you can go on mass.gov and sign up to volunteer if you're a healthcare worker. They're also looking for folks to do the tracing. This is going to be important work for us to start opening up the economy, is to start tracing where all these cases are coming from and tracking. So testing and tracing are going to be the two biggest things. And we're going to need volunteers and paid people to actually help with this tracing. So you can go on there as well to volunteer or apply for a job. You can also donate to the Mass COVID Relief Fund. You can also donate or sell PPE on the mass.gov website. So if you know a place that has PPE equipment, personal protective equipment, please go on there. And again, once again, just a reminder that the Red Cross is still in need of blood. So we encourage people to give blood. It can be done safely. So please do so. And that's my update for today, Steve.
Thank you, Mathew Muratore. He is Plymouth State Representative. He and Ken Tavares join us each day. And we thank all of our participants. I will be going to our question and answer momentarily. I did want to mention earlier we talked a little bit and heard from Michael Jackman regarding scams. I'd like you to know that on Friday we're going to be welcoming District Attorney for Plymouth County, Tim Cruz, also Sheriff Joe McDonald, and they'll be talking further about scam prevention. Tomorrow, we'll be welcoming a number of guests, including Gary Costin. He is the business administrator for the Plymouth Public Schools. Also, Dr. Stacy Rogers. She's the director of special education, Plymouth Public Schools. And Joseph McIntyre. He is an assistant clerk magistrate with the Southeastern Housing Court that serves the town of Plymouth. Stephen Cole, the executive director for the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation, will be doing our business segment, and we welcome all of these guests each and every day. Again, your questions can go to PlymouthInfo@pactv.org. Another guest on Friday will be Michelle Pecoraro. She's the executive director for Plymouth 400. But one of our questions today is to give us a brief update. You'll be hearing more on Friday, but Ken Tavares, you also wear another hat as chairman of the board of Plymouth 400. For the viewer who asked about an update, is there anything you could tell us in advance to Michelle's return on Friday?
Yes, certainly. As it has been previously announced, the opening ceremony, which would have been taking place on the 24th, has been canceled. We will not be having that ceremony. It was going to include a number of people from the Netherlands, from England, and from Japan. But unfortunately, with the situation that we're in now, we had to cancel it. The board of directors did take a vote this week not to pursue the Maritime Festival this year. It will be postponed to June of 2021. Other events we're looking at, and Michelle will go into some detail on Friday. There are two events: the Native American Conference at Bridgewater University, and the university, and the illumination ceremony that normally takes place after the Thanksgiving Day parade will be planned or are being planned, and we hope to be able to hold those two events. Again, so much of this is based on how the Commonwealth allows gathering to take place.
Thank you, and that's Ken Tavares, who also serves as chairman of the board of Plymouth 400. Next, we're going to go to Patricia Fry. She is the assistant superintendent for human resources, Plymouth Public Schools. And Patty, the question from the viewer, you've told us that the teachers and administrators are busy working as assistant superintendent for human resources. Do you have other personnel or staff that are continuing to work? And also, are you continuing to provide lunch meals?
Yes, our entire school community is working. The teachers are really on the front line right now because of the student interactions, but all of our staff are working. Our central office staff are working. They're all doing different components of working from home. Just today, Dr. Rogers, who you'll have on tomorrow, is in the office putting packets of papers together for children with no computer access or internet access. So work is happening throughout the district. It's just looks differently based on the position. Crazy things happen with a school that we need to get work permits to kids. So we have secretaries going in to ensure that that happens because they may be working at Shaw's or somewhere like that. So I know we've been doing that on the weekends and things like that. So our entire staff is working. It just does look a little different than it does, obviously, because we're not in the office and in the active school. While there's no lunchroom for our custodians to be working throughout during the day, they're managing our buildings, making sure they're safe, cleaning, doing proactive things of that nature. So we're definitely working. The second question, Steve, I apologize, was?
The meals.
The meals, yep, the meals are going on a regular basis. If you go to the Plymouth Public Schools website, we partnered with South Shore Community Action, and they there is a way to be a volunteer and also ways to donate, and that's all worked through Dr. Maestas, Dr. Campbell, Mr. Costin. So that's all a fluid situation. So that are still going on as well.
Thank you, Patricia Fry. She is the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. These are coming to you live each day. We've date stamped them. And in addition to being able to watch on local cable live streaming pactv.org. We just got a viewer commenting that they are watching. They are Plymouthians. They're watching us from Naples, Florida. So this is going out on the internet to people who are Plymouth residents who may not be in Plymouth today. But Michael Jackman, how do we keep track of these people? One of our viewers asks, can you tell us about the census, and particularly, what about college students who would normally be in college now and could be, we could track them because they're in college? And what about the nursing home residents now that the nursing homes are closed? Can you give us an update on the census?
Yeah, so the census is so important. I'm glad you brought it up. I usually do kind of close with the reminder to folks to fill out the census, go online, my2020census.gov. You can fill out the census online. You can do it by phone as well. Those are two really important target populations, if you will. The college students in particular. Massachusetts traditionally does benefit from having a pretty large college student census every 10 years or every time the census is taken, whether it's the decennial census or the other census products that the government does do it on an occasional basis. That is going to be an issue, and I think there's going to be some review of that by Congress and maybe by the Department of Commerce as well. Because if those students are not in college, because the colleges are all closed now, maybe they've returned home, so they're living with their parents, living somewhere outside of Massachusetts, and that's going to be an issue in terms of getting a count of the services, the residents who need services, because the whole point of the census is to get a count of people who are living in Massachusetts or in the country and where they live on a regular basis, because the government has to provide services allocated on the basis of where people live. And if we have college students here 7, 8 months a year, 9 months a year, then we should be getting those funds to provide those services for those students while they are resident in the state. If they're not resident in the state right now, then that will be an issue that will have to be sort of figured out by Congress and by the federal census department. Nursing homes, obviously, that's a huge issue as well. I do know that the census is working with healthcare providers, nursing home operators to do counts. I would have to get some more information directly from the census on how that is working and what kind of success they're meeting. And I can certainly try to track that down and bring some information next week. And I wonder if, Matt, you might have some information that you've heard, but I do know that they are making special efforts to reach out to certain populations, such as folks who are in skilled nursing facilities, homeless people. So they're working with shelters and other homeless service providers to make sure that those folks are counted as well. So, there definitely is an issue counting everyone during these times, and they are trying to make adjustments to get as full a count as possible.
Thank you. That's Michael Jackman, and he is on staff at our Congressman William Keating's office. Next, going to Heather Cozby. Heather, 2 questions for you. First, on the stimulus payments, are those in advance to future tax filings, or are they an outright credit? And second, could you once again comment on the minimum distribution and the fact that certain people do not have to take that this year?
Okay. So to the first question, my understanding is it is not in advance, but that there's going to be a way to reconcile it on the 2020 tax return so that if you should have got a credit and you didn't get one, you could potentially get one there. And that's the previous one wasn't advanced. There was one issued before that wasn't advanced years ago. But my understanding is no, this will not be paid back. It's not taxable income to you. And if you missed out, there may be an opportunity on the 2020 tax return. And Mr. Jackman might have additional more information on that than me. That's my understanding. The second question on the required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts are that you may waive them for this year if you're of retirement age. So if you're normally required to take money out of your 401k or your IRA, you do not have to take that money this year. So I believe that answers the full second question, Steve.
It does, and that's Heather Cozby. She'll continue with us. She's a CPA for the town of Plymouth. We're going to move to Amy Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Amy, a viewer asks, why are liquor stores considered essential services?
Oh, that's a tough question. Matt may need to. I do believe that it is because alcohol is an addiction and they would fill the hospitals. Matt, would you have to agree with that?
Matt, we're going to come to you anyway. If you want to comment on why were liquor stores considered essential services, and then we have another question for you, but go ahead.
Yeah, Amy is correct. That the concern there is that it would be, there's addiction issues with that. And it would cause the healthcare system to actually expand, and they're trying to keep those people like that out of the hospitals. And then people then say, well, why are liquor stores open, but then recreational marijuana places close? And again, we've talked about this before, and that's only because that actually brings people from out of state into the state, and we're trying to keep the borders closed. So those are the reasons that have been given.
And Representative Muratore, you mentioned we'll be getting local numbers each Wednesday. One viewer asks, do you have more local numbers than what you've provided today, and when might we expect those numbers from today's, now that you're starting on Wednesdays?
Well, what I was discussing is that they're going to be released to the general public, every single city in town. On these updates, I only give the numbers for Plymouth, but if people are interested in other communities, we'll be glad to give those. Maybe I can give them for the local towns that PAC TV covers. We could do that. But those will come out starting later today, and they'll be published every Wednesday and updated. Thank you.
Mathew Muratore is the Plymouth State Representative. We now, at this portion of our daily update, go back to each of our participants, and now that you've each heard each other give an update, we'd like you to provide us with your closing thoughts. What would you like to be a takeaway from your message today? We're going to begin with Patricia Fry, the Assistant Superintendent, Plymouth Public Schools. Patty, what should we remember?
I think the biggest message from the school department is there's no foolish questions. Ask the questions. We're all accessible. As they shared, all jobs look very different right now, but we're here to serve the Plymouth community and our students and families as best we can, not just with reading and writing, but with the whole process. Our guidance counselors, for example, are working on student schedules for next year. We're figuring out staffing. So it hasn't stopped. And I think the kids really remember that we have a lot on our plate to figure out if we continue the closure beyond May 4th. I do think we'll be hearing from the governor in the next week or so with information on that front. We don't have any. We're not going to jump to conclusions. Once we do, I know I echo the superintendent and all our leaders the kids are number one, and they always will be. So the senior questions are very real and very close to all of our hearts. So. And as I alluded to earlier, there's transitions and opportunities K-12 that are very, very important. We're hearing a lot from the parents of our graduates, but we're going to do something. We will have an answer, and we'll make sure it's safe and appropriate and student focused at all times. But I guess back to my two big words, accessibility and communication, we're here to help. We don't have all the answers. We'll try to get them. So please reach out as needed.
Thank you, Patricia Fry, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Plymouth Public Schools. And now at this time, we're going to go to our federal partner, Michael Jackman, Congressman Keating's office. Mike, what can you tell us?
Sure. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, just to follow up on what Heather was saying, I think she is accurate that the stimulus payment is not a credit per se, but will be reconciled on your 2020 tax return. They'll figure some way to reconcile that. I'm sure Heather will get guidance on that as a CPA that will be helpful to her. But again, anyone has any questions about the stimulus payment, they can contact us and we will try to get the information back to them. We're getting guidance every day on all of these different moving parts, whether it's SBA, unemployment, working with healthcare facilities, local first responders on PPE, doing what we can to make sure that people have the resources they need, whether it's on the town level, the state level, healthcare, resources that they need to deal with this pandemic. And we appreciate the work that the healthcare folks are doing, first responders, grocery workers, frontline people who are allowing us all to get through this. And we're doing what we can as an office, as a member of the community, working with state reps, our selectmen, our local agencies, business partners like the chamber, to make sure that questions are answered and folks get resources they need. And we are accessible, we are available. Please do reach out to us with any questions, and we'll do what we can to try to answer them. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Michael Jackman. He is on staff with Congressman William Keating. We now move to Heather Cozby. Heather, you've been with us now and will be with us each and every Wednesday while we're doing these updates. What can you tell us today in closing?
Well, thank you. Basically, information changes every day. And particularly for the small businesses, the best thing you can do for yourself is continue to check specific websites. And those would be SBA.gov, the U.S. Treasury website, IRS.gov, and the state websites. This will be the Mass Department of Revenue as well as the Unemployment Office website. There is so much information coming so fast. And, you take a lot of the small businesses in town, they also are at home with now children trying to homeschool. And if small businesses thought it was hard before, it is really hard now to try and operate and manage your business. So I'm going to leave with the advice I give my 9-year-old son when he gets frustrated. Just take a breath and count to 10 and then keep going. So thank you. Heather
Cozby, Plymouth CPA. Good words for a small business to live by. Amy Naples, that leads right to you.
Such great advice, Heather. Well, today, as it's One Boston Day, I think it's only appropriate to send gratitude and thanks to all of our essential employees, grocery store workers, police officers, firemen, EMTs, and of course, our healthcare heroes who are risking their own health to serve others. One Boston Day is about encouraging random acts of kindness and coming together, and I know everyone in our community is doing that. So on behalf of the Chamber, thank you. And as always, if there's anything that I can assist with or any member of my team, don't hesitate by calling 508-830-1620 or by visiting the Chamber's website, plymouthchamber.com, and click the Contact Us button, and you can send an email directly to us. I can't stress enough that we are here for you. And as always, distance socially, support locally.
Amy Naples, the Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. She does our business segment Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And every day you can see Representative Mathew Muratore. Matt, what are your closing thoughts?
Thank you, Steve, again, and thanks to PAC TV for doing this. As Michael and Amy said, there's so many heroes that are out there. Obviously the healthcare workers, the first responders, people working in grocery stores, the daycare employees, the bankers. There's so many out there. But Patty, the teachers are godsends. They really are for all of us who have kids at home. They're really doing God's work out there. And please thank them on behalf of all the parents that live in the town of Plymouth for what they're doing. It's greatly appreciated, trust me. And I leave every day by just, talking about what, what everyone else has been talking about. It just, as Heather said, just stay informed. Go to the mass.gov/COVID-19 website to get information. It changes all the time, changes every day. If you have questions, call 211. It's 24/7. So call and ask questions. Get alerts on your text. That's the best way to find out what's happening up to the minute. And that's texting COVID-MA to 888-777. And if you have any questions on your health, it's bowie.com/mass. So stay informed, stay calm. As Heather said, count to 10 if you get frustrated. Stay calm, but more importantly, stay home. By staying home, it is working. We are, as I said, in the surge right now. We are saving lives by staying home. And that's what we all need to keep in mind. It may be frustrating, but we are saving lives by doing it. So continue to do that. And remember, the more we come together by staying apart, the faster we'll get back to the people we love and the things we love to do. So thanks again, Steve, and to PAC TV.
Thank you, Representative Mathew Muratore, and to all the participants today, which included Patricia Fry, Assistant Superintendent, Plymouth Public Schools, also Michael Jackman, staff, Congressman William Keating, Heather Cozby, Plymouth CPA, also Amy Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and special thanks to each day. This is now our 25th update, and each and every update we've closed with Selectman Chair Ken Tavares. Ken.
Thank you, Steve. I just want to remind our audience that if you have any questions regarding tax payments, the collector's office can answer them. The number is 508-747-1620, extension 10291. If you have questions regarding the exemptions or deferral applications, they can be addressed to the assessor's office. That number is 508-747-1620, extension 10296. They will get back to you. Just please leave a message. Also, I'd like to thank today PAC TV. Yesterday, we had a meeting of the Board of Selectmen via Zoom. We had some technical difficulties because of the storm and the loss of towers. But I realized at the end of the day and at the end of the meeting that we have never been able to communicate with this community the way we have because of PAC TV. We've used print before, we've used the radio, but to be able to have live television available to us is extraordinary. So thank you to Julie Thompson, the entire PAC crew, for what you're doing. You're making our jobs much easier, and it is most appreciated. As the governor said towards the end of his conference today, we are hardy stock. We will get through this and we will prevail. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. We'll be coming to you live each and every day, Monday through Friday on PAC TV. And please join us tomorrow. We have quite a lineup, including Joseph McIntyre. He's the Assistant Clerk Magistrate for Southeastern Housing Court that serves Plymouth. He'll be giving an update that is of particular importance to both landlords and tenants. Also, Dr. Stacy Rogers. Patricia Fry mentioned earlier she's busy working today, and tomorrow she'll be with us as Director of Special Education for Plymouth Public Schools. She'll be joined by Gary Costin. He's the Business Manager and Administrator for Plymouth Public Schools. Stephen Cole will be doing our business segment. He's the Executive Director for the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation. And as always, Representative Mathew Muratore and Selectman Chair Ken Tavares will be with us to answer your questions. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. Good day.